Hello, everybody. So, I read Social Turtle, I think your name was, and you left a long message or a long comment where it talked a lot about so many stuff that I feel we all have in common. It was self-sabotage, loneliness, and self-hatred, and I think it kind of goes in that order, because a lot of the times you sabotage yourself by thinking you're this terrible person that doesn't deserve friends or has caused them to leave, and because of that, now you're lonely, and every time you feel lonely, you blame yourself, and that leads to self-hatred. But it could go either way. And I think when people blame others for what goes wrong, it's damaging, because you will always have resentment and anger towards everybody and always find faults in others. But it can go the other way too, and I think that might be your case and a lot of us here, because chances are, if you have like an edge, you are internally exploding versus outwardly. And it's never good to, although you're not blaming other people and you're taking responsibility, it's never good to take it completely and kind of assume that it's always going to be that way, you know? I think knowing what exactly went wrong, like what you think you did wrong, that you could control moving forward, can help. And I know there was this quote I kept on my pin board, and it said something about like normalizing failures but not letting them define us. Like, if your relationships failed in the past, we have to forgive ourselves and learn from it, but not let it be the only thing that means anything. You know what I mean? Like, the failure can't be the only meaning you get out of it. There has to be the lesson behind it, because if you don't do that, it will happen again. And I have seen people in my life that have similar traits of people that I've been friends with or in relationships with, and I have finally learned that I'm not going to put up with that, or I'm just not going to do my part. Which, my problem is, it's good to identify your problem. Nobody is completely blameless in a situation that has gone wrong. I think everybody has somewhere where nobody's perfect, basically. And I think trying to find out what's within your control will help you better react to something that happens again, if that makes sense. Now, if you're trying to save people from yourself because you think you are this bad guy, this could be one of two things. One is, you don't want to adjust yourself and change. You don't want to find out, pinpoint what exactly is what's going on, what you did, what people are staying away from you are. You don't want to find it because it takes work. So you just want to say, oh, I'm the bad guy, which is not good, because you're not trying to evolve. The other part is, and we're all guilty of one of these or both of them at different times, I'm not just saying like it's you. And then the other one is, you have been made to feel that you are the bad guy in every situation. And the thing is, it's like when you grow up in a place where you're constantly blamed and you're the black sheep or the scapegoat, I think the scapegoat is the one that I'm thinking of, you will automatically be programmed to believe that everything is your fault, no matter what. And a lot of the times, especially when you're young, my hair looks really stupid today, I'm sorry, but a lot of times when you're younger, especially before you're an adult, all those friendships really teach you a lot about yourself and kind of how to evolve and change. And, I think of myself back in high school and middle school, and I cringe at how I was. And I feel really bad about how I treated the people around me, but yet they did some stuff too, I think it's a good thing for you, because you think that you have sabotaged everything. Do not isolate. I don't think that's a good idea. And do not think you're this bad, unsavable, unworthy person of no relationship or friendships. Because that's just you accepting that everybody else was right, or, like, you are this bad person who does. I don't think there's bad people. I think there's people that are just not willing to see that not one person is wrong in one situation. I just don't think it's that easy. And pinpointing what it was that went wrong is the ultimate way to have something stop and not repeat itself. Because I swear, whatever's in charge of us, destiny, God, whatever you believe in, it's trying to teach us something. And I believe this. Once you learn the lesson, they move you to the next chapter in your life. But if you keep not learning the lesson, the chapter will keep replaying in different order, in different characters, scenarios, but it will keep happening. And I've watched this with many people, and that's why I really believe that. And I've noticed people that come back in my life that are bad friends, or, they're like flaky, fake, or relationship people that I'm like, oh, why they do that. They'll say words and phrases that remind me of back then and why my relationship failed. And I'm like, oh, and the key is to not do it again. And yes, I am speaking of them doing something bad, but this goes for you too. Like, for example, if somebody is saying stuff that they're already flaky, because I really don't like that, like a potential friend, and I don't like that. My lesson is to not make this person my best friend. We can be acquaintances, friends, but they don't have to be my best friend. I don't have to be their ride or die, because they're not going to be my ride or die. So that's what we have to do. And if you want people close to you, then I think you should pinpoint exactly what went wrong. Like, what do you think went wrong? It can't all be just you, and it can't all be just you messed up the whole damn time. You know what I mean? You must have done some things right. You must have made them feel good at one point. Same goes with the other person. Like, I've had friends where it's like, the world isn't black and white. You know what I mean? It's not just like that. And I don't even think it's completely black and completely white. Nobody's pure and nobody's completely evil. I think people are just in their own perspective, in their own mind, and sometimes because we want others to see us like in a good light, and they tell us they see us in bad, we assume it's completely bad, if that makes any sense. And another thing is, like, self-sabotage is so hard to control and like understand or even identify, because for me it's like going out, or like stress, it's sabotaging my life. For you, I think it might be the whole like you think you're the bad guy, and it can't just be you. You know what I mean? To make a friendship work or a relationship, it has to be both parties. The problem is a lot of us don't tell the other person what our issue is, and we let that build up, and over time we get angry, and that's why a lot of people distance themselves. I have ghosted friends in my past, and my friends have ghosted, like my old friends have ghosted me. And the thing is, ghosting hurts because people should just be honest, but it's not that easy. And sometimes you're meaning to, but then you're like, oh, it's kind of awkward to do it now. So I don't judge people for ghosting me. I would prefer if they just told me, because I can handle it. Even just a message. Like, they don't even have to look me in the eye. You know what I mean? So I would just prefer if they told me, but I don't care if they ghost me. I think accepting the fact that people don't owe us friendship, people don't owe us relationship or attention. That's a big one. Even attention, people do not owe us attention. We owe ourselves everything we're seeking from everybody else before we can go seek it out. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not willing to care for myself, to eat right, to like even just putting lotion on my hands, because I used to be big on like preserving my skin and its care. I used to be so big on that, and I lost it when I became codependent and I wanted my relationship to be the most important thing. It's like I stopped caring for myself, and as I broke down, my relationship did too. And the thing is, it's like sometimes I was more of like the voodoo doll, like whatever happened in my relationship would happen to me, but worse. But when I was the healthiest, like mind, spirit, and soul. That sounds weird. I was in the best relationship. I was not happy in that relationship because you don't need, this is the thing. It's like, I hate that in books, movies, everywhere you go, they sell you this like life of you have to fall in love in order to feel complete. You have to find the person that completes you. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I've been single from I think 2 years, and I've also been single for the first time where I have had experiences and relationships, and I've, just been always around people, like trying to deal with and understand. So I've learned a lot firsthand, and I just think even in friendships, like I'm talking in all of it, I have never felt more peace than when I'm alone. I like being alone. And, I found out the hard way because you think that loneliness is painful, but it's so much painful being with somebody that doesn't appreciate you, that made you think that you're this bad person that was like unworthy of anything, and you do all this stuff. Where did that come from? You have to find out where it come from. And if you're saying it to yourself, I think it had to come from somewhere. You had something confirmed it for you. You know what I mean? And as soon as you stop, like whoever said that to you, I hope you're not in contact with these people anymore, because I used to be in contact with people that would pick at how I looked, like very critical people on how I looked, how I acted, and not trying hard, like I couldn't even wear makeup and stuff, and it was just really awkward and uncomfortable, but you had to still look good, so it's like, what do you want? And now that I'm not, I'm trying to get better and healthier, and my mind is getting clearer. I'm not as critically like focused on, oh no, I look like shit, or oh no, they're gonna say this and this and that, it doesn't matter. And I'm more likely to fight back when somebody does give me that bullshit. So I feel like being alone can be torture if you view it as like, if you're constantly repeating those bad words, those evil phrases people would say to you. But it's also healing if you're airing out all those phrases people would say to you, all the bad things I ever said to you. And I like to think of like, in relationships when or friendships, when you leave, that person leaves you and you feel sadness because all you can think of are the good things. Try to think of all the toxic things instead, because we tend to forget why things fail. And a lot of the times, like I would think that too, when I lost my high school friends, that was the biggest like heartbreak I ever went through, even till this day, because they were my emotional support. The people I was in a relationship with were never emotionally intelligent. Like they were freaking dumb, but these group of girls were so smart and they emotionally intelligent, and they just they moved, and we weren't in contact anymore. And by the time they moved back like around this area, we were strangers. And the weird thing is I was okay with that. We have to be okay with the fact that we don't have to be around people or a group of people to be full and happy. I think they just add, they add to it. I think trying to discover who you are is so much more interesting, because it's like you don't even know who you are. You could love things you never thought you'd love before. Like I found out recently that I really like plums. It sounds random. And like what else? I'm really like I feel like sometimes forget this, that I think I'm very weak because I'm afraid of everything. Like everything makes me panic, and being around a group of people makes me like really scared. But I'm very confrontational, and I'm very okay with arguing. Like I don't care if you're a manager, like I'll talk to you. Like I'll be like, I don't want to work here. If you don't move me, I'm out of here. And I like that about me, because people tend to think, oh, just because you're quiet and you're scared of a group of people in a small room means you're always going to just go with whatever everybody says. You have to find things you like about yourself and try to nourish that, keep it alive, and try to appreciate what makes you different or what makes you like yourself. Because when you focus on something, you're gonna see the details. You're seeing all the details, all the things you think are wrong with you. But if you focus on what's more like positive or what you like, you're gonna see those details instead too. That's what I think, at least. Yeah, I used to hate being alone because I got used to being I was like really codependent with I tend to do that. I did that with my friends. Like, I definitely did that with my friends. And then I did that with my partners, and it was not healthy. I didn't realize that I was doing that until I left, or they left me. My most recent toxic relationship, he left, and I felt so good. I felt like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders because I was doing so much and not getting anything back. After that, I remember driving, I was lonely for a while, because when you're around people and then you're not, you feel very like, oh no, why has the noise stopped? Why is it so quiet? And I felt the silence ringing in my ear, but now it feels like a rhythm. Like, it feels good. And as I was driving home from a new job where I worked pretty much alone most of the time, I was driving home and I thought, look at me, like, I'm driving, because like I didn't drive, you know, because I was in a relationship. He would drive, because, and when I stop doing something, it makes me even more nervous. So I'm like, look at me driving, like I'm not even nervous. I'm still doing that. I'm driving, I'm not even nervous. I have my own job, I have my own schedule. And I remember thinking, like, one of the things, like, remember that when you're in a friendship or a relationship, what you didn't like. For example, my friends were really flaky. I'm not flaky. If I say I'm gonna do something, I almost always do it. And if not, I give like a notice. You know what I mean? Like, I don't just randomly back out unless I got like an act, like something happened, like I had a panic attack or something. Then that's when I do it. But I'm really like, I go with whatever people want to go do. Like, I try it. And my friends were not like that. So I'm like, how am I a better friend to like, in my standards, I fit that what I want. So why don't I do it for myself? Like, why don't I show up for myself? Relationships, I did the most for them. I would do so much. I would do their laundry. I would fold their clothes, put it away. It's like, why don't I just do that for myself? Why am I doing it for other people that don't care? You know what I mean? Just pick at what they have done that didn't serve you, and serve yourself twice as much with that until you're healthy and feeling better. Because I think self-esteem is like this weird, like, it's like water, you know, like a wave. And when people hurt you, it becomes a drought, and it's very low water, if any at all. And I think it's better to stop relying on people pouring water into this stupid metaphor that doesn't work. So yeah, like, just stop relying on that and instead rely on the fact that like you can make this ocean, or you can, I don't know how to explain it without sounding like an idiot. I'm sorry. See, I do it too, but I think everybody self-sabotages and feels lonely. But I think the key is, like, my mom, I studied her too, because she loves solitude. Like, she loves her alone time. I was studying her. I'm like, how do you do it, lady? And I figured it out. And it's like, you just do everything you love to do, and nobody can tell you no. Like, nobody's like, oh, you're really gonna do that right now? You're really gonna do this? You're really just remember the time people wouldn't let you do what you wanted to do, and do that. And try to learn other stuff. You know, you can do whatever you want when you're alone. I like it. I feel annoyed if I get like drained when I'm around people. Even my best friend, like, sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, when she goes home I have to poop. No, I really have to shit. When she goes home, I'm gonna diarrhea all over my bathroom. So that's, you know. And like, sometimes when I had like friends over, I'm like, oh my god, when there was like more than one, I was like, at least they can talk to each other and I can run to the bathroom. That's my priority, just going to the bathroom. But yeah. And just like, I don't know, feeling that like nobody's listening to me. Like, right now I'm alone in my room and nobody's like listening to me. I remember I was in my relationship, I was always with him. He wouldn't let me like be on my own. Like, he always had to be around, and I would have to lock that door, but he could hear me, and it was so awkward. And it's like, I just wanted to be alone for a bit. So yeah. And then in the other one, he was like always distant. So oh, my light turned off. I have to go now. But yeah, I hope any of this made sense and it helps somehow. But I don't think it's just you. I do appreciate and notice that you take accountability, but I think you're taking way too much. But I don't know the full story, and I'm glad you had a chance to vent. And I hope you see this. Turtle dude. Bye.